walking you through the image trace tool. So once you have placed your bitmap into the page, like we did with Peter's example here, you place it, you can scale it, then you need to get your image trace window. Most windows are always here. Some are over here too, but the majority are under window. And you highlight it, and right down here, when you open this, now this is a file that has a lot of options. And what you will find is if you're working on numerous image trace examples, you might want to save the variables that give you better results, because take a look at all the presets. It has high fidelity photo, which is excellent when you have a low res photo and you want to scale it up without messing up the resolution. This is a really good trick to do this, because once you make it a high fidelity photo, which is vector, you then can scale it as big as you would like it to. That's very nice. But for our purpose, right, we only need the black and white logo. Now, any of these will do a really nice job on photographs to give you that silkscreen printmaking effect. That's a texture, that's a style, that's a technique. So these will give you really nice ways to break down the dominant colors and give you that printmaking, silkscreen, Andy Warhol look. But for our purpose, for the logo, we just want the black and white logo. So now you see how I'm losing this, right? So I'm going to push up the threshold, which you see how Peter, it's giving me more black.
Yeah.
And so here, I'm going to go a little thicker. There. Nice and thick, right? Now, if I had a lot of words that was this script, I would know that I need to have it at this variable. So in your future career, I guarantee you, you will have a lot of dashboards that have a lot of windows like this and a lot of variables. Do not write it down. Capture your screen and put it in your production folder. Call it what it is. Give it a name so you can identify it when you see it. So I would call this image trace script font. And I would know, oh, this is a good image trace variable. And then I would just call it up and go, oh, yeah, it's 219 and so forth. So that's why it's important, because you'll get into a lot of complicated software such as 3D animation, After Effects, video, all that kind of great stuff, web design. And these windows pop up all the time with variables, and they're important to remember. So now I have that. So once you have that done, so what has happened is it's now become multiple layers. So if I opened up the layers, let's show you. It's right here. But it doesn't, let's do the preview. And what we want to do is now expand. So you come up here to image trace, expand. That is when it gets converted. So the preview kind of lets you play with it until you get the best results. So do remember that you have to play with it. These are not, magic things. You have to play with the variables to get the result that you want to do. And trust me, when you have variables like this, as I do, let me go back again to show you. When you have variables like this, the thing to remember when you're cracking software is push the variables so that you see what they actually do. If you go a little bit, like that, you see? If you go a little bit, you don't see what the variable is doing for you. So you want to really push it, max it out, and see if that's what you want it to do. So I still don't see the corners. I want to bring this up. Wait for the mess. Bring it down a little bit maybe. There we go, you see? You may not see it, but I can see it because I'm really close. Okay, got it. Now I have it. So you see, now I changed that, and that made a difference. So just remember that when you have variables, because you push it so that you can see what is this thing doing. If you do too little, you don't see it. So then again, just to repeat myself, we come up here to Object, find the image trace, find Expand. That turns it into a grouping, as you can see here. And then what you want to do is to ungroup it, because what I need to do is take this compound path out here, which is the white. Now you don't really see that, so if I turned on food, you would see it. So I've got that other layer I had before, and deselect, and select the compound, and simply hit delete. Now you see that I have something behind it, and I've got all kinds of things that are behind it. So let me just create a layer here. Let's give it something that I can see. And that is because, remember this happened last time? That is because my color window was on black and white from the font. The font is a black and white bitmap. So when I did that, I had to go back to RGB with color. So right away, something happened. If you're not familiar with it, it's like, why isn't it giving me color? That's when you jump to your window and go find your color. And then you look at your color and you realize, oh, it's gray. So now you can bring this down and bring it down right below behind here. And so that is image trace. So then you can move in. Now, I deleted that white, and it would have had the cut in here. But if I wanted these things, you do want to keep them. If you don't want them, you can delete them. Come on, guy. Peter, did that help you?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much.
Okay, great. We have what we call a freehand illustration that has all these points. And these lines have been drawn independently. Now, because this is a logo, we want to smooth out, before we do what I'm going to show you, we want to smooth out these points. And there's a couple of ways to do this. So let's do that first. So number one, you always want your white arrow, and there are your points. So again, you're going to lose this detail upon the scale. So you want to be able to simply have the points be coming down a little bit more and come up here. And this is where you need that pen tool, because you're going to be deleting some points. Now you can get very particular on this, right? To get a feeling of what you want because of the silhouette of the tuna. So here again, with the minus, I can take this away. And again, you have your ability to make it round and smooth, however it may be, right? I don't think you have the photograph here, do you? No. So on here, the photograph is very important to keep in your file, Savannah. And why would I say that? Because a client will go, I don't think the tuna fish looks like that. And you go, oh, yes, it does. And here is the photograph. So remember to keep your source files in the layer. Okay, Savannah? Just because you'll need it.
Okay.
so people don't give you a hard time, basically. Okay, the other thing is, so this, you see all these points in here? I can see it. It's important to see it. And that line is red. You see how that line is red? If I double click this, I can change it to a different color. If my line was red, you know, I'd change it to black, or I'd change it to green or something that I could see. So remember, you can always change the color of your vector lines, but red is fine. There's another tool in Illustrator up here, which is called under Object, under Path, Simplify. So Simplify will randomly take out the points. Now, this is a brand new tool. I mean, I've been using this tool since day one, but they keep changing it, and it just changed it. This is a brand new tool, and it's much better. Back to path. So the points are with the path because points are on a path. And now you see, I'm going to take this and get this to be less or more. Let's see what happens. Auto simplify. And I think it wants to, oh, it's giving me more points. We want the opposite. Let's see if it's doing it for us. Now, the hard part for me that drives me crazy is that Zoom is not very good with this. So if it works for you, it didn't work for me. And preview should be minimum. I'm really pushing it, you see. Auto simplify. Come on, let's do this. Preview. So it's not working. And so this happens with the Zoom. But that's another way to get rid of those points. Let me see, I don't think anything happened. And that is a problem. It actually added more points. So welcome to my world. I'm going to undo it, you see? So it added points. I'm going to come back down to here. I'm doing right now. There, now it's back to the points. But if it, when I'm on break, I'll test it out. But right now you can see it's back to what it was. It was adding it, but it wasn't giving it to me in the preview. And this happens all the time when we work remote with Zoom. So anyway, so play with that. That's another way to eliminate points. So that, you know, that came about because certain tools, like certain freehand tools, such as this guy, the drag one, as it is often used, people like to draw with that, as well as the brush, is, yep, and it just added those points again. Let's get rid of that. Let's bring this back. There, okay. So now you see all these points could be simplified on here. Now, if you wanted to keep them, you'd want to bring it up more, but you see that is not good. So you want to delete this. So this is the point that I'm making, Savannah. If I use the pen tool in the tracing, I would not be messing with any of this stuff. And I would have a nice, clean situation. You see what I'm saying? And so when you do things freehand, you get all these yucky points, and you have to edit them, versus, which is if you plotted it, you would get accuracy, and then you move that Bezier curve to go to the curve that you want. Freehand is fantastic for, quote, illustrations, quote, for your character designs, but logo designs, this is what you have to go in there and edit and delete these points. Is what I'm trying to get across to you. So that's very important to do that. So like right now, I don't really see, and I have to move this. Let's move this guy up. So that, because I need to get there's going to be a color in this. And deselect, so I get a little of a little opening here. And then again, I've got to push this up. And again, I don't like the twerk. So the rule of thumb in Illustrator is when you have kinks, you have too many points. And it shows that you don't really know Illustrator. And it's fine if you're doing illustration because you're not looking at that, right? You can cover it up. But a logo design, you can't cover it up. So I'm just going to take a lot of these things away because I'm going to let the Bezier curve do that lovely curve that I want, which is here. And again, remember, mouse down to the anchor, mouse down and get that point again. So you get the two handles. And so then I can be able to get that lovely curve like that, which is what I want. And I don't, this is not important for me to bring it in. I can bring it in like that. But you see what I'm saying, Savannah, I'm getting that lovely curve. So things that are kinky like that, not good in logo designs. So let's do that again. Let's get rid of those points. So the rule of thumb is less points is always better. And so you want to pull the handle out to give a slight curve on that. And I'm going to save this and pull this out so we can see this. Fit all in window. Turn this off. And so we're getting a little better. You see, that was not defined before, right? And here, the other thing too, I can see in your scaling that's happening, because you're getting different, like that is a huge problem in logo design. So I've got to select this. Nope, I locked it. I wanted this to be turned off. So here, let's see where that point is. The point is here. And let's bring this up. You want to deselect and try to select on the, so try to deselect and select on the actual layer that it's not selected. And then you're getting more points so that you can get a definition. Let me see what this looks like now. Fit all in window. And that needs to be a little bit more defined. Now watch what happens when I go smaller. That is what you see. So you want to be sure that your logo design will be strong enough in a postage stamp. That's a true test. A postage stamp is 1 inch by 2 inches, something like that, vertical or horizontal, whichever way you do it. So you see, you don't want it. So it's a little heavy. I don't have that picture, so I don't know. And in here, minimizing whatever that is to get less points is really what you want to do in there. So I don't know that photo on here. So like right now, I would really want to know how much of a fin is here, right? Do you know, Savannah?
It's in the other file because that one I had combined 2 of the symbols things for.
The noun project?
Yeah, and the one called J is the one with the picture.
Right. So you see how simplified these are. To drive home the point that I was saying. So you lose. You see how you lose this, right? And so you have to be real careful, like all of this, right? Can get super, super busy and so forth. So let's go. Did you say you have a photograph?
Yeah, it was, you just opened up the wrong file. I didn't actually make the one in that one.
Okay, so this one, we have another one.
Yeah, it's called J. It just named it J.
So you flipped it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the same one that you had, or you just drew it differently?
No, it's the same one. I had copied the
Oh, the
layer
photograph
that
is
you
in
told
here.
me. Yeah.
Gotcha, right? That's what you're showing me. Okay, so this is what we want to see. Because the art director will want to see this. Okay, so on here, because we can't do all the details, what you want to do is, because there is detail, right? We have to differentiate how much we can see. So on here, on this layer, we'll highlight this. And what you want to do is just get a little bit of a brush here. You see this fin, you could probably lose this fin. This fin may not become important. So let's just get like one. Oops, I want to do it in red. Am I in the blob brush? Let's take the blob brush. Let's change the color so we can see this. Yeah, it always turns to the stroke. Okay. So on here, I just want to get a little bigger. You see, you can make a peak on just doing 3. Because remember, a logo design is not literal. It's not an illustration. It is the essence of what is the object, the subject matter, the object. So that's why when you're up here, you want to find the point that's going to, whoops, like I want to make this on a nice curve. Come on, come on. Go smaller. I want a nice sweeping slope here. So that now that would become my guide where my peaks would go. And so when you do that pen tool, as I was speaking about, let's make this be a different color. Zoom really slows things down. And this is what you do. The other thing is, not only do you have to know your tools, but you have to work fast. So for instance, I'm just going to do the body. So I would come up like this. You can start here. And I could wait on that. I could put this in, I could include this. And that could be a problem. That's it. It's not important. And we'll come all the way up here and come down. That is why we use the pen tool. Then we come back to this, we lock it, which I didn't do. And now we do our anchor tool. And does anybody remember what happens when you have your handle and you don't want the other one to move? We did walk through this. Right? I don't want, what was that?
You hold shift.
Alt key,
Oh, okay.
I think. Hold on. Now, what's difficult is that this guy is gray. Let's not make it gray. Let's make it yellow. Yeah, much better, right? So you see how that was a problem? And I needed to change it because I couldn't see the handle. So let's do Alt key down, and it was Alt key. You see? And now it's even in a wrong spot because really it comes about here. Now yellow's not too good because I can't see it on top of white. So let's change this guy to purple. Okay, a little better. So you see, now you see what I'm doing, Savannah? I'm bringing this in so I get a nice smooth point here. And so then this way, this will come in and this will come in. And this right here, use the convert. And again, how do you get the line to be straight on one side? Straight, not curve. So this tool is the most important tool in Illustrator. So that's why I'm drilling you on this. If you don't know how to edit this tool, not going to happen. So does anybody remember, how do I get a straight line on the other side of that curve? I'll show you. You take your convert tool, you go to the handle, and you click, because what does the convert tool do? This tool right here. You can try to guess.
It helps curve lines, I believe, something like
Yeah.
that.
You got a curve, it makes it straight. You got a straight line, it makes it curve. But it's not the curve. It converts the points. If your points are straight, which creates a straight path, the convert, when you put it on a point, it will turn it into a curve. If it already is a curve, it'll make it straight. So it does a complete opposite. So often you need, so that's why knowing that, you click the handle and it straightens it on the other side, but keeps this to be curved. So now I can bring this in. And now on here, if you didn't, you see how lovely that kind of curve is, right? And of course, when you zoom in, see, you see what I'm doing, Savannah? Hope you're watching. Are you watching, Savannah?
Yes, I am.
Good. So you see the accuracy? And here you see I don't get that nice curve. So then you can add a point to here. Whoops. And it always comes like that, and you just click it. And then now you can move this down. Oh, stop. I'm on the wrong tool. Bring this down. And now I can make this be the convert tool. And now I have a nice smooth edge. Now that becomes really important because eventually this is going to become a thicker stroke. Let's get the stroke up. You see? And that will become the stroke that it will become. Now you see here, say I don't like that. That's when the stroke, you need this. And that's why the stroke and the pen tool all become important things. Because that's what you're trying to accomplish, is the essence, not the illustration, but the essence, which is called design. So Savannah, you are an incredible illustrator. What you need to do is to learn how to design, and you'll be able to do that by learning the tools in Illustrator. So you can see where we're going with this, how the line becomes a lot cleaner, and you use the points to get the line that you want. and you can work really fast with that. And in the beginning, it's really, you feel slow because you think, oh, I can do this so much faster with hand. But no, you can't, because you have to fix it all up because of all of the points that you have. So you want to get it to be really smooth and clean, Savannah, on that situation. And so that this way, and that's why we use that pen tool. And we do, and this tool, just to let you know, this tool is so important. It is in Photoshop. That's how valuable it is. And it's also in video timeline editing. Same tool, same exact thing. And it's also in music. Same thing. Sound wavelengths need curves or they're discrete. So that's why it's important to get your head around this path, because you'll always be needing to work with it, and it goes a long way. And so you can delete things, like you don't need a lot of points. So that's why plotting really helps when you're doing logo designs. And I do mean logo designs, so that like here, I need to get that curve back up. And now I've got my nice curve. So that is why we plot. And this is where anyone can draw with Illustrator because of this tool. So you can get some really quite beautiful drawings, and you can really work fast. And yes, you can get those details that you want to get, as such as we did. So we'll save that, but let's get back to your illustration. So is this the one, this is the one that you want to use, is that right, Savannah?
The fish?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the J one.
Wait, what do you mean?
You had a couple of documents that you gave me, and you said Jay was the one. Oh, Jay had the photograph.
Yeah.
Okay, so which one do you like best on your sketchy thing? This one?
I'm not entirely sure yet.
Okay, well, I did a little bit of work on this to clean it up. I could do more work here, but we'll just leave it, right? Because I want to show you the live paint to fill it, right? That's ultimately where we're going with this. Okay, so now I'm going to select all of this and get this down to be a smaller point of lines. So already it's a little, it's smoothing out, and you know, I would definitely clean this up so that it's not, you're going to lose it in the actual, because if you go back to look at your J situation, and looking at the object is really important. This is perfect. And if these guys are the way they are, this is actually someone's illustration. And you know what, Savannah? This is illustrated in Illustrator. They did this in Illustrator. How do I know that? Because of the way the lines are, you can never get this in Photoshop. They would airbrush it, and they might have touched it up a little bit in Photoshop. So you often go back and forth between the two in Illustration. But I can tell you right now, this thing was built in Illustrator and then sort of smudged in Photoshop. But the construction, without a doubt, a vector tool. Now, if we did a real live photo of a tuna fish, right? And did images. Let's see, are they actually, I'm in Bing. I don't want to be in Bing. Don't like Bing. I like Google Images. That's still an illustration. Always look, be sure you always look at photographs versus other people's illustrations. Photos are always your best bet when you're looking at fish or anything, especially if you're an animator. You want to see Savannah? They're perfect on that. Now you could do the looseness of it, but you've really got to find a way, which would be this is your research of tuna fish. Is it one word? I don't even know. I don't know if it's one word. So you see where we're going. I don't know if you looked at this. Did you look at these?
I did. I actually really liked the one in the circle. I was thinking about like
This
doing
one?
something similar.
This
Yeah.
one? Okay, good. Yeah. So, but you see, where'd that go? Here. But you see on this one, Savannah, no freehand. Everything is a pen tool, except for this. Right? This is a pen tool.
Mm.
This is freehand. These probably were freehand, these marks. Definitely freehand on the type. None of this is freehand. This is actually one stroke. This is actually one path with a calligraphy brush. So that's what we're getting into, as so that you can turn your lines into calligraphy. So that's good. So that's I wanted to be sure, like maybe they are random. Maybe this person did the illustration and they didn't they didn't follow, they just made it perfect, and tuna fish are not perfect. They are. They have a sense of and you see the little tiny thing here on there, and we would lose this again if we clicked on this. So very important not to lose things, because they will go away and then it just becomes a blob on a piece of paper. Hard to put on t-shirts because you'll lose it on t-shirts and all of that. So that's why, see, so everything that you see here, folks, is done in Illustrator, because Illustrator is a drawing tool. Photoshop is image manipulation. So let's go back. Oh, it's 7:15.